Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Thor: Love and Thunder. No, this is only Stupid Answers, but this is going to be our spoiler-free review for Thor: Love and Thunder, where the review embargo came up, fell outside of our normal podcast stuff. You're like, you do a podcast? Yeah, you don't know that? If you're on the YouTube channel, check out our podcast, everywhere podcasts are sold. Also, go to patreon.com/onlystupidanswers. Also, hellbentcomicbook.com. Please go support my comic. I'll refer to it again later in the show, but I made a comic. You can get volumes 1 and 2 if you go to hellbentcomicbook.com. There's probably a thing up here. I'm DJ Woldridge. With me, as always, Roxy Stryer. And let's just dive into it. Roxy, we got to see Thor: Love and Thunder early. This is our spoiler-free review. It, of course, is directed by Taika Waititi and written by Taika Waititi and Jennifer Caton. Hopefully I pronounced that right. And of course, it's starring Chris Hemsworth and Natalie Portman and Christian Bale and Tessa Thompson and Russell Crowe. Getting ahead of myself. And this is right. You should be watching this right as reviews are going live. So there's no Rotten Tomatoes or anything. Roxy, spoiler-free overall thoughts. Thor: Love and Thunder.
I think that this movie is a fine movie. I think it was totally fine. I think that this movie struck in the audience that I was in. It very clearly had a big fan following. People really liked this.
Yes, I was in the same theater, and yes, the big reactions.
And I think that that struck me as a little confusing. But in general, I think that this movie is. I thought it was really funny. I like the dialogue a lot.
Okay.
I think there were moments where, like, if it was clipped out, I'd be like, that was a really funny scene. I love the way a lot of it looks, especially some of it.
Mm-hmm. It is interesting. There are moments of like really kind of cool visual stuff. Yeah, there's moments.
Yeah, there are. And I like a lot of the characters that are in this movie as well. And I think that Christian Bale is a true Oscar caliber actor in everything that he's in. There is no role that he's in where I don't feel like it elevates everything else. Yeah. So that's cool. I think that in terms of just stupid things, there's a lot of hotties. So there's a lot of eye candy.
True. That is true.
There's so much eye candy throughout that was like, yo, that's a lot of abs. That's a lot of beautiful faces. There's a lot to look at right now, and I'm not mad at that.
Especially in one scene. We got Leonard Kim in the Discord. I get the sense that I will love Thor: Love and Thunder. Therefore, all I need to know is, do we get full-on butt Thor? Can confirm. It is not blurred out. I think Taika Waititi said that on the news circuit, but yes.
Yeah. So that was cool. But in general, I did not like the story.
Yeah.
And they do one particular thing where they shoehorn something very serious into this extremely comedic movie.
Yeah.
That felt, I don't mean like, woe is me, I'm so bitter about this, but it felt insensitive. It was just like, I don't think that was the move.
I agree in my spoiler-free thoughts. And I think that was one of my big hang-ups is that for me, this movie wasn't quite as funny or engaging as Ragnarok. And it felt tonally, even in the first scene, I won't spoil anything, but in the first scene, it was like, oh, this movie's going to tackle some heavy stuff that it's not necessarily equipped to handle. And there's a couple different, like you were talking about, like not actually themes, but like ideas that this movie's not built to just handle or talk about in any real meaningful way. Like, it's such a light, breezy comedy. And to your point with I will talk more about gore. I have some thoughts on gore. But just to catch everybody up, this movie is Thor enlists the help of Valkyrie, Korg, and ex-girlfriend Jane Foster to fight Gorr, the God Butcher, who intends to make the gods extinct. And so, actually, let's start with Gorr. Christian Bale as gore. I think Christian Bale is great. I think he's doing great work in this movie. On paper, I'm actually really interested in gore, but he's in a different movie.
Sure.
He is in a movie that has stakes and emotions and like some depth, and that is not I was talking to a friend. I was texting with him after he'd also seen it, and I was like, it'd be like if you took Heath Ledger's Joker and dropped him into an Ant-Man movie for like 2-minute increments at a time. It's like, this isn't bad, but why is this here?
For sure. It was like Christian Bale had done a lot of work on this character, which I really always appreciate. And I thought this character looked creepy.
Yes. His abilities look cool.
His abilities looked awesome. I thought his storyline was super intriguing, and there were definite stakes there. And when he was on screen, I wanted to watch him.
Yes.
That was not that. It was a weird juxtaposition of what the rest of the movie was, because he is in one story and is one way, and everybody else is just like on a different planet, for lack of better words.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, that's literally and figuratively true. Yeah. And so, yeah, it was just it reminded me a lot of Cate Blanchett's Hela, in that Hela's almost operating in her own separate movie, except that at least Hela as a character and Cate Blanchett's performance there is still within the same reality as it's heightened and kind of she's kind of vamping, and it just kind of works within the context of the movie. This movie made me miss Sakaar. Like it needed like a weird environment for our characters to exist in. It needed like a Jeff Goldblum. I felt like it would have benefited from that stuff. I think the other elephant in the room, of course, is we're bringing back Natalie Portman as Jane Foster as the Mighty Thor. How did you feel about how they handled that?
I can't really address it without doing spoilers.
Fair.
But I was not what I was most bummed about was when I walked out of the theater and just heard like wildly sexist comments about her.
Oh, great. In this movie? Coming out of this movie?
Yeah.
Oh.
and was just sitting there thinking, that's such a bummer, because she is also an Oscar caliber actress.
Yeah.
And I really like what she brings to the screen. I think that my biggest qualm with the movie has to do with her character. So that's not ideal for her, like what is she supposed to do with that?
100%. I feel like I was excited when I heard that they were bringing her back, because I think Natalie Portman's incredible, and I think she was basically wasted in the first 2 Thor movies. So it's like, yeah, bring her back. And then watching that, it's just like, God damn it. Like, because I still feel like she's being wasted. Like her abilities are being wasted, and it's not her. It's what they ask of her character. Like where they position her character within relation to everybody else is understandable, but it's just not, I didn't like it. It's like, oh, I don't care about this.
Totally. When we left the movie, and this isn't a spoiler because I'm talking about just themes.
Yeah.
The 2 people that I was with said, this was a movie about love. And I thought to myself, I don't feel that way.
Yes.
I know that this describes itself as a movie about love. I super duper did not resonate with me. And I love DJ, lover of love, shipper of ships. If something's a movie about love, very likely I love it.
Yeah.
I did not feel that was the main theme of this movie, despite this movie multiple times out loud identifying that as the main theme of the movie.
I think it also doesn't help that, and no spoilers, but the emotional like catharsis of the end point of this movie comes almost entirely out of left field. It's like, wait, was this what we were building towards the whole time?
Totally. I felt that same way too.
Was this the arc?
You know what's so weird, DJ, is like I do feel like I was watching a different movie than a lot of people, because a lot of people thought that was like super apparent and earned. So yeah, I don't know. For me though, I think I liked it a lot better than you did, because I really like the visuals. There's some great music
Yeah.
that is speaks to my history, and they're also I did like the humor. I thought the humor landed for me.
Yeah. Yeah, the humor did not land as much for me, which made the movie a real slog to get through. Like there's a few good jokes that the movie brought back a lot. Like it revisited those jokes a lot. And it was like I'm on board. I get the bit. I get what we're doing. So before, and I think you and I both had the same reaction when we got out, which was like, wow, that movie felt like 4 hours. That felt like a long movie.
Definitely felt long. It was an hour 57, I think. And
Really? It was that short?
if I didn't know that, I would have definitely said it was 2.5 for sure.
Yes, I thought it was like a No Way Home where it's like, well, we're bloat, or we're just wow.
Yeah, let me look, but I'm pretty sure that it was.
Please do. We have a question here from Boiler Huff that I think will be on a lot of people's minds. And the original Phase 4 order before the James Gunn drama, I believe Guardians 3 was supposed to come out before Thor 4, not after. Do the Guardians seem to fit naturally into Love and Thunder, or do they feel a bit shoehorned in because this movie had to follow Endgame?
It's 2 hours and 5 minutes and shoehorned in for sure to me.
Yeah. Yep.
I was very confused, but not very confused. I understood what's happening. The amount of time that they're in the movie and where in which they're in the movie and the way in which I feel like there's a lack of payoff for them being in the movie, I was like, I feel like we definitely could have done something else.
Yeah, credit where it is due. They are part of my favorite sequence in the movie.
They are part of some cool shit,
yeah,
for sure.
But it's just one of those, and it's weird that.
By the way, this movie said shit a lot.
It did. But I think this goes to the point where it's like a lot of things just kind of happen in this movie, and they're only loosely connected by a shocking amount of exposition. We get recaps on my wife before we went in. She's like, "Okay, I haven't seen any of the Thor movie. What do I need to know?" And I didn't need to tell her anything because the movie revisited all of it. It revisited all 3 Thor movies. It revisited every Avengers movie. It revisited Thor and Jane's relationship. Like it's like,
I liked that. I didn't mind that. I like a movie where you can come in cold, even though at this point most people aren't. The rehashing did not bother me.
I agree. I feel like there was a more organic way to have accomplished it. And I think there was some information we retreaded that I'm like, I don't know that this actually pertains to the movie we're watching. Last thing, Roxy, that I just had to touch on before you go. Spoiler free, what is Russell Crowe doing as Zeus? What is going on there?
Another thing I'll say to you, DJ, is that a lot of people's favorite part of this movie was Russell Crowe as Zeus.
What?
That I was talking to. So this has got to be another you and me thing where I'm like, I thought it was like borderline egregious.
Yeah, I couldn't tell if I should be offended or not because he makes a choice to do an accent. I believe it is an Italian accent. If it is meant to be a Greek accent, as somebody who is a partial Greek, I feel attacked a little bit. I don't know. No, I don't know. It just felt like one of those like, wow, this is a lot. This is a big choice he made, and I'm surprised nobody was like, hey, just do your own thing. Just do your own. Just be Australian.
Yeah, it didn't. This at least he fit more in the tone of this movie than some of our other characters. Like
you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
I feel like him in this movie, I was like, that makes sense. And then obviously we're not speaking about specifics, but there is a mid and a post credit scene.
Yes,
there's 2, and I am extremely excited about what's to come.
Yeah, it is. It's a classic Marvel thing where I had trouble getting through this movie, but then they do a post credit scene like, you son of a bitch, you pulled me back in.
Yeah.
No spoilers. I will say to some of the people we were talking to after, they were not like big Marvel movie fans, but they enjoyed this, right?
Yeah, I would say that's accurate.
Okay, I was trying to figure that out, and I do wonder if maybe part of my hang up here is this was one of the first times watching a Marvel movie where I felt like the movie was laughing at me. Like, hey, aren't you a big idiot for enjoying this stuff? This is so stupid. Whatever. We collected a paycheck. Haha. And I was like, yeah, then don't do it. Like, then don't do the, if you're not into it. It like most of the you know how there's always leaks around these movies. Like we're right in the middle of a bunch of leaks from the Barbie movie, and it looks amazing. But a lot of the stuff we got from this movie was, here's Taika Waititi going to football games with Russell Crowe and Chris Hemsworth, and they're hanging out, and it's like, oh, you all were just hanging out. Like you were on a vacation, and you happened to make a movie while that was happening. That's what that felt like to me. And I was wondering if maybe that's it. I don't, and if you're not into that, you don't feel that as much. Like the movie's like, doesn't take what it's doing seriously. You don't care. So that's fine. I don't know. That was just the thought that occurred to me.
Yeah, I definitely hear you. Like for me, at its best, it's still a massive budget movie.
That's
true. Cool. Like you're still looking at a spectacle.
Yeah.
Because especially in some locations, it's like, holy shit, this looks dope.
Yeah.
So, and you're still listening to some very serious, hard-hitting rock and roll that they must have spent millions and millions of dollars on.
Yep.
So if you can just I think if you can go in and like a superhero movie for the fact that there's some cool characters, a lot of cool visuals, some cool sounds, then I think that this totally is like such a serviceable, good movie.
Yeah.
But if you are looking for another Ragnarok, this is not that.
Yeah, this made me, I had my qualms with Ragnarok. There's parts of that I don't know quite work. This made me appreciate Ragnarok a lot more. It's like, oh yeah, okay, no, they accomplished a lot with Ragnarok. I was being too hard on Ragnarok.
Yeah. It is interesting that we are on Thor 4. Mm-hmm. I mean, who would have thought that of the 4s that we got to, it was going to be Thor?
Yeah. And also, no signs of stopping is the impression I get. Yeah.
No. And honestly, severely looking forward to Thor 5.
Yeah. And
that's the thing.
Maybe we can pull it back. Maybe we can get the balance a little more. Because I do feel like I did a tweet about it, and I felt like people were like, oh yeah, it sucks that they made Thor funny. I'm like, that's not what I'm saying. I think making Thor funny was 100% the right choice. Chris Hemsworth is really good at that. Ragnarok, I think, really did that well. I just don't know that this movie balances it. It understands its tone as well. But like you said, Roxy, on board for Thor 5. Yeah. I'm in it. I'm in it to win it.
Yeah.
So those are our thoughts. Let us know what you think about our thoughts in the comments. And then once it comes out and you see it, then let us know why we're wrong. We'll do a full...
I hope you guys love it.
Yeah, go have a blast. Because again, our theater was laughing, like really into it.
Belly laugh,
like way into it. So your mileage may vary. Check it out. And we'll do a full spoiler breakdown on our next podcast episode. So stay tuned for that. You can follow Roxy at Roxy Stryer. You can follow me at DJ Talks Trash, and follow this show everywhere that matters at Only Stupid Answers. But on Twitter,
yank out the vowels from stupid.
And last but not least, hellbentcomicbook.com. Please. We're like a week, or it's like a week before the campaign's done. So please go support this comic. You're running out of time. Diverse team of creators, really cool book. Please go support it. It would mean the world to me, and I think you'll be pretty happy with yourself too. And we'll see you all next time. Bye, everybody.